Right, for anyone that doesn't know me, my name is Jack, and much like the title of this video says, I am an addict. Um, this video is going to be more about me and my story with addiction, specifically sort of ketamine. A week ago, yeah, about a week ago, I did a poll. I think it was over a week ago. I did a poll to see what people might want to hear or listen to. The three options were a home workout for someone who's struggling with their health in addiction. Second option was how I feel before NA and how I feel after NA. And then the third option was more about my story. It was actually the second option that was winning until sort of the very end, and then more about my story had the most votes. So today we're going to be doing that. I could talk a lot about this, so yeah, it's going to be sort of like a part one and part two of this. So I'm going to talk about my earlier years, sort of 16 onwards. But it was actually even before 16, I shown addictive traits. Even if it was something good in the gym, or just if I got enjoyment out of anything, I'd get in. Obviously, everyone gets enjoyment out of something and they like that and they don't want it to go away. But whenever I lost that, I'd get depressed. When I was younger, if I had like friends stay over and we played football or something, like when they had to go home, rather than just being happy that it happened and I had a good time, I'd be sad. I'd have like not well yeah sort of withdrawals from that because I got so much enjoyment out of it. So that's like one way I shown addictiveness even at a younger age, even though it was nothing bad necessarily, but it was definitely a sign of me having an addictive personality. And like with the gym, anyone that knows me quite well knows that when I'm focused on the gym, I do it about 6-7 times a week. I make good progress. Same with wrestling. Um, when my head's switched on and I'm doing good things, I'm there 3 times a week, helping coach, helping do whatever, always on shows. So yeah, I've always shown addictiveness to something I get enjoyment out of, to a point where I get withdrawals or it makes me physically, mentally depressed. So, but like in terms of my story with ketamine, it started at 16 as I was leaving high school. Um, Normal things, start going to house parties, mixing with other schools, mixing with other people. It wasn't actually the first drug I actually took wasn't ketamine. The first drug I took was a pill, ecstasy, whatever you call it, and that was at for those of you who may know, you might find this a bit funny, but McLean's, when they used to throw them weird events for people like under the age of 18, where you could go there at a pub, not buy alcohol, but somehow everyone left that place in some way of being absolutely fucked. That's the only way I could say it. So yeah, the first drug I ever took was a pill. I was actually like I seen other people doing it prior to this, and I was dead against it at first, but eventually I sort of gave into it, and yeah, so I took a pill first. That was my first thing, and then because I'd done that, I thought, oh, all right then, why not try ket? It was at a barbecue party in the summer. First time doing it. I didn't really feel much from it. I was more drunk than anything, and it was like the tiniest amount. But then because I'd done that, I then started seeking more into that world. I started wanting to acquire it to be able to have it for when events came up, just so that it was there in a way. So, and then because it was there, I'd start like after a few months. Like this was probably about a year after, well, about 6 months after. So I'd left school at this point, and then I'd just start having it there, just so I could, if other people wanted it, it was there. They didn't have to travel for it. They didn't. It was just easy and convenient because we were going to like a lot of house parties and gaffs, if you called them that, when I was about 16, 17, 18, like every weekend. But then because it was there for me, I'd be on Xbox and I'd be like, yeah, okay, we'll have some of that tonight. I'll watch a movie, we'll have some of that tonight. So yeah, that's how I got introduced to it. It's just like normal age. I was like at a house party, and it was there, and then I gave into it, and then having quite good access to it. A lot of people around our area know that it is flooded around our areas, as it probably is in most places. But I say this all the time: if you based it on not numbers of population, but the percentage of population that use it, I'd say North Wales, sort of D-side and surrounding areas, I'd estimate it's in the top 5 places for usage of ketamine. Like, obviously Liverpool and Manchester, they're going to have greater numbers, but I'm talking percentage of area and population. I'd say just the access to it, and like the fact that I was in a few different groups of where house parties, like you'd have a house party sorted on Wednesday, even though it wasn't till Saturday. You like, that's what we were doing on weekends. It's just house parties. In the summer, or when people are just not in college, A levels, or working, if it could be a Wednesday, it could be a Tuesday, we'd be at a house party if it was there. And then once I turned 18, was when it sort of became quite heavier in terms of usage of all drugs. Going to like raves, tech events, DJ events and whatnot. Well, the first one I went to was Nightworks. It was before I was 18, actually. I used a friend's ID to get in there, but that was when it started mixing with stuff, so like alcohol, cat, pills, coke. It was all just a combination of stuff. At that point, I still had a lot of physical health. At times, I'd have like sort of minor UTI symptoms that would last a day or something. So, because I didn't see any sort of negatives in a way, other than perhaps a come down on a Sunday or Monday or whatever, the usage just kept going. So yeah, so that's at like 18, and then because of the usage of stuff, I was acquiring more to have sat there, whether it be for profit or whatever, and then it got really bad. So at 18, between 18 and 20, it was sort of building, but not to a point where it was like drastic and my life needed to change. COVID, it was COVID when it got stupidly bad, being furloughed, and having just access to it, and just it sat around all the time. But I was just doing it all the time. So yeah, COVID was a big downfall in my health. I don't blame COVID. It was just being at home, not doing a lot. It was my own actions. I can't blame the fact that there was a virus, a pandemic going on. I can't blame that. Just like I can't blame the people at that first party I was at that had it there. I make my own decisions. So yeah, COVID was a big downfall. I did get slightly better for a bit. But then obviously we had a second lockdown, and it just came back worse and worse. And that was at the point where I was first going to the hospitals then, because I couldn't hold my urine. There was blood and blood clots in it. So what happened to me was I first went to the doctors. They referred me to urology with sort of an urgency on it. I think my letter came quite quickly, within about 2 to 3 months, I want to say. Could have been longer. So that was for my first sort of like assessment of how bad the damage is. I spoke to a few doctors, and then they arranged for sort of CT scans, biopsies and everything like that. The CT scans were just to check on sort of the inflammation level, and then they done a cystoscopy. If you don't know what that means, it's a camera inside you. For a male, it's down the urethra, urinary tract, and then into your bladder. So the first one I had was I was awake for that, because it's just a normal cystoscopy, and I could see obviously the damage I've caused myself on the screen. The second one thing I done not too long after that, probably about 3-4 weeks after that, was a biopsy. So they put you to sleep for these, because it's the same thing as a cystoscopy, but a slightly thicker pipe tube goes down with a camera on, and it takes like a little cut out of your bladder. And they do this just to test that you've not got anything like cancer or anything like that, which came out negative. So that was all good for me. But then what happened for me after that point was they trialed, I don't actually know what the name of it is or anything, but they basically wanted me to trial a treatment they give sort of older women for urinary incontinence. And what it was, they catheter you, and it's like, the only way I can describe it is like some sort of protein liquid for your bladder that helps line it again, because um, anyone that uses ketamine to the level I did, you will like sort of urinate your bladder lining out, and it'll just be pretty much raw scar tissue in there that gets irritated dead easily. So that was their plan, was to try and reline my bladder with this thing that I'd have to keep doing every so often. I'd done one of them, and I felt like the damage it was causing, because obviously my urinary tract was scarred as well and damaged. Having that catheter go in, it was painful, and then like for days after it, I felt like it just helped my scar tissue in the urinary tract get more destroyed. So I decided not to go on with that anymore. And then I sort of got better for a bit. Well, I did get better. What happened was I went through some different things in my life that made me sort of need to get better. Reason I'm not going too far into that is just because it involves other people. I'm not going to mention names or situations directly, but things happened where I got better. I got myself back in the gym. A lot of people, if you know me quite well, you'll know sort of what sort of years I'm talking about. You can tell by my Instagram as well, because I started posting again, and then you can tell when I started getting unhealthy again. But yeah, I got myself better, and back in the gym and everything, and it took about 6 months for my bladder to get fully back to, I'd say, normal. So like the first month, I was so COVID was still sort of a thing, but people were able to do things like fly abroad and stuff. So I had a work from home job, and it was to do with the test that you needed to get done to be able to fly abroad. So I had a work from home job. I could work and earn money in my own way and do what I needed to do in terms of going to the toilet or whatever. But after the first sort of 2-3 weeks, I started training with my home equipment. And then after sort of about a month or two, no, after about 4 to 6 weeks, I'd say, I started training at gyms and stuff. I was still going to the toilet a lot and stuff like that, but I was still working from home. So like, if I needed to go to the toilet at a gym, I don't have my manager shouting at me. Do you know what I mean? But then just before sort of Christmas, no, it was just after Christmas actually. I quit this COVID job just after Christmas that year, and the reason I quit that was just because I didn't agree with the company. They were a proper scumbag company. Like the work they were doing, the amounts they were charging for it, their policies and everything, it was a proper scumbag company. It served its purpose for me, and then as soon as I didn't need it as much, I quit. And then I got a job through an agency, just a warehouse job. I was still going to the toilet a bit more than I'd like, and so this is sort of 3 or 4 months down the line now, because I started in September for the COVID job, and then January I started the warehouse job, and then I was going to the toilet about every 30 to 45 minutes then, which was ideal. Not ideal, but it worked in that job, because what I was doing was I was filling up a pallet and then stuff like that. And each time I'd fill up 2 pallets was about 30 to 45 minutes. So I'd get the pallets done and then go to the toilet. And then as your pallet's done, I switched with your switch part. You work in a pair, so you switch partners. So that job also served its purpose for me in continuing to get my bladder back. Alongside all of this though, even from month 1, I was eating 5 meals a day, minimum 5 to 7 meals a day. That is what I believe helped me get my bladder back, is the food consumption, supplements, and just being active in the gym, rather than just, obviously if you're quite far into sort of a damaged bladder, you do need to rest. But once you've got that first initial month out of the way, a few weeks where you can move about, not in too much pain, then I'd recommend being active, even if it's just lightweight stuff at first, because it's just going to help build the strength back in your muscles and stuff. So yeah, and then after I left the warehouse job, I got an office job. It was a job that I previously worked for sort of before COVID and sort of during the first bit of it, and I got that job back, and then I was going to the toilet 7 times a day. I was running to work, just for fitness, really. So I'd run over sort of the train bridge in Shotton, down the cycle path onto the industrial zone. I'd run there, run back if I was feeling like doing it both ways. If not, I'd luckily get a lift if someone offered. But yeah, so that is sort of the first part of my story. So I'll sort of overview it there, and then the next part I'll discuss it in a different video. So yeah, so like just being a normal sort of young person going to parties and getting introduced into it, and that way is how I got involved with it. And then because I used my mind in a way where I could make it not something that I'd have to spend ages getting or costing a lot of money. So yeah, that's how I got access to it a lot. I grew like a big sort of network of people that did it and stuff like that through house parties. And then just because I had it there is how my tolerance grew, how my usage grew. And then just going to being involved in raves and stuff. And I'm not saying if you're involved in going out in raves that you're going to be addicted to anything. I know people that go sober. It was just a combination of everything for me and my addictive personality that grew my tolerance, and then led to the path of my bladder getting obliterated to the point where at some points I genuinely thought it wouldn't be repairable. I still question it at this point. Obviously, the second part of the story will help you understand where my bladder's at now, I guess, even though I've mentioned it quite a bit. But yeah, it like the first part is just how I got involved in it, really. And nothing really too much to do with my mental health. The first part is just like how it came into my life, how I kept it there, and how I didn't realize that it could become a problem later in life, or even that it was sort of being a problem then. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm not too sure when the second part of this will be. I might do another type of video in between it, so that it's not just me always talking into my phone. I might try and do something different. It might even be a video not even related to sort of addiction. It might just be like a gym session with one of my mates or something like that. So I'm gonna leave it there. Hopefully this is I didn't really want to do this one too much. I was hoping one of the other topics in that poll I did would win. Just because not that I don't like telling my story. It's not like I hide anything. It's just that I just wonder whether you lot want to actually hear or not. Like the first video, I expected 20 to 30 views, and it got 300. So I'm just sort of grateful in a way that people are listening. If you don't listen too much about this one, that's not too it's okay. But yeah, if this does well and stuff, not even if it does well, if I know that this video has helped one person, then I'll continue. That's the way I'm looking at it. With the sort of doing these videos, as long as one person gains help from this, and I don't mean one person messages me saying well done, I mean that I know of someone, or someone comes to me saying this person found your video helpful, he is struggling, something like that, then that's what's going to make me want to do more of this sort of stuff. And hopefully it'll be sort of like less negativity. I'm going to try and make it positive with other stuff. But yeah, I'll leave it there. If you have watched or even just clicked on for a little bit, thank you for taking time out your day to watch.